Alright, what's up guys? Today on the Kickers Podcast, we're going to be talking to Jordan. We're going to be really breaking down a little bit more about motives and why we hunt and why we film. So let's dive into it. What really, I always ask this question at the start of the podcast, why do you hunt?
You know, the biggest reason I hunt, and trying to get past the traditional answer of, hey, I hunt because my dad taught me to hunt, and my grandfathers hunt, and my great uncles hunted. Obviously, that's what got me started, was just being involved in all part of that. But I don't know if that's necessarily the reason I hunt. I definitely feel like it's in my blood, it's in my DNA, and it's in my tradition because of my dad, my grandpa, my great uncles, things like that. But the true reason that I hunt and I have that full passion for it, I really think is because I love adventure. I love being out in the outdoors. It's definitely where I feel connected, the most empowered, most inspired, definitely the most connected to God for sure is when I'm out on these adventures out in nature.
Well, yeah, and I think you brought up a good point there. I mean, you can't experience what we experience as hunters until you're actually getting out there. A huge thing that I really love is that us as hunters, when we take that animal, it's just so much more than the experience and stuff like that. But even if we don't take an animal, the experience, the time, everything like that, the memories, all that, it just makes up for everything. And so, I mean, I've been on a couple unharvested hunts this year, an elk hunt and a deer hunt, archery, but I mean, the memories that we made with my dad, my brothers, it was just crazy. But yeah, that's a great point that you bring up about that. It's not, I mean, yes, if I were to say I hunted because of my dad, it's true. Don't get me wrong, it is true. They did get me introduced to it, but I've been like you and trying to find out really what is my purpose in hunting, why am I hunting, and that's one thing that I've really dug deep into and figured out through this. So we're really focused on, we talked about it in our last podcast, motives and why we are hunting, even in today's life where we can go buy our meat at a grocery store on the corner. We can. It's very easy and simple for us to get meat. So why are us as hunters killing an animal for, many people say that it's for the meat, but why are we, how do I put this, why are we taking an animal, why are we hunting, and why do we drive this passion so much, do you say?
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right on that, is that it's super easy to go buy meat at the grocery store. I still go buy meat at the grocery store. If I want a pork loin, I go do that. But I absolutely love, the disposal of being able to apply for these tags, get them, and to be able to go harvest my own deer, harvest an elk, go pheasant hunting, whatever that is for us hunters, and provide for my family, provide for my friends, donate food to families around the community that need it and need good quality protein. And we hear about this new fad over the last several years in the sense of people looking for good quality meats, good organic meat, things like that. And it's definitely very popular right now in the non-hunting world to be able to go and buy things like that. And that's where hunting has, I think, really started to gather more in the spotlight by non-hunters, is because they're looking up where they can get good quality meat, right, and where they can get organic meat. And so, yeah, I mean, they're finding that, hey, one of those avenues is hunting, and so some of the people are turning into hunters, and other are going the opposite direction, right, and choosing to be anti-hunting. But I think if they are eating meat and they're anti-hunters but are eating meat, that, diving into it and really experiencing nature out in the outdoors and what a hunt actually provides internally for each of us in a little different sense, and getting out of the concrete jungles of the city and what it does for you individually could be absolutely huge if they experience that.
Yeah, totally. If we were to look at our motives, a huge thing that you focus on is fitness and being fit to hunt and stuff like that. And so what are your, like, if I were to ask you your why you started Run to Gun or whatever, or why you started it, what would your answer be from why? Like, what's your why?
You know, my why was to make a difference. I saw my great grandfather, or my grandfather and my great uncles were huge outdoorsmen. I'd go to their cabins and they'd have elk and bighorn sheep and mountain goats hung up in their cabins, and it was just a big dream to be able to do that. And as I was growing up, I saw them stop applying for these tags and stop going on these hunts because they felt like they were getting older and not physically able to do these hunts. And I was getting to the age where I really wanted to go on those hunts with them, and I wasn't able to do that because they weren't going to go. You know, they couldn't go hunting as well as what they thought. And so when I was very passionate about fitness and sports, and when I was trying to decide what I want to major in college, that was definitely something that came to mind. Is, hey, I want to make a difference in people's health and fitness for a long term, and hopefully extend their hunting career so they can hunt with their children, their great grandchildren, whatever it is. And so that was definitely my why and my motive on why I dove into this back in 2007 after I graduated high school.
Yeah, that's a great why. I think our motives on why we're doing it. Brian Call said this, and I brought this up in my last podcast. That if you're going into this for the wrong reason, or it's not going to help you become a better person or someone become a better person, he said that it's really not. There's not. He's like, not to be rude, but there's not a reason for you to be doing it. And I love the way that he put that, because I mean, like, in my daily life and my daily routine, I'm always like trying to be positive, trying to make a better outlook on things and stuff like that. And so I mean, if we really take that into the hunting community or the fitness community, if we took that into there, honestly, if I do this because I want to become famous, it's helping me short term, not long term. It's not really helping anybody but me, but it's only helping me short term and not to become a better person. And so I mean, if my motive was that, or your motive was that, I don't think that you would be at the point you are today, because you are growing extremely, and you're making the difference that you wanted to. And I've really realized that through your last couple podcasts. They're amazing. I love the one where you were talking to you posted it on your Instagram, the video of you talking to the high school kids or the college kids or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was amazing. I just love that. So, but anyways, yeah, I think our motives on why we do things, even if it's just as simple as, like basics, I think we have to have the right motives in life and the right attitude on things. And so, I mean, with me going through this YouTube stuff, I want to have the right motives. I want to have a good attitude, even if my YouTube videos, I mean, like right now, we're only averaging like 100 views, and I mean, like, compared to bigger guys like Hush, so to say, that's not a lot, but to me, I love what I do, and I believe that I'm gonna keep growing and make the change that I want to make. And so for me, this is like crazy. This is what I want to do. But anyways, I need to keep that positive outlook on that. I need to keep telling myself my motives, why I'm doing it, and I need to keep pushing those motives even farther. And honestly, your podcast has helped me so much keep pushing and stuff like that. That deer one that you dropped today, it was amazing. But anyways, so yeah.
So I love that you say that, because you sound like a 5 year ago version of myself when you're talking like this, because except you're already ahead probably where I was at in that sense. Because when we started the business, we've been in business for 7 years. It definitely was a business for us to make a difference, but we also wanted to make a living off of it, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to do both. Because I want to find something obviously that I absolutely love to do and make a living off of it. But as I worked and as I progressed through this, the living side of it and making money became less and less and less important to me, and the making a difference started taking a way bigger portion of my thought process. And it's exactly like what you just stated, is that we can post a video and sometimes it hits a lot. It goes a little bit semi-viral, whatever you want to call it, and then we have some that you hit it and it gets 20 views in 2 weeks, and you're like, what the heck? And so it's just like you said, especially as you're getting started with this, it's definitely key for you not to overthink a video that doesn't hit as much as you'd like to hit. Especially a lot of those are the ones that you think are going to go big, and you're like, dude, this is some good content. Why is this not?
Yeah.
And it's like super frustrating because you want it to be out there. But yeah, man, you're so. How old are you, Walker? I didn't even ask you that.
I'm 15.
Yeah, and so, dude, like, you're so young, and that you're starting this already. You're so self-aware. I mean, just listening to you talk, you're so self-aware of what your ambitions, your motives is what you've been utilizing here. Dude, you have so much awesome time. You're already kind of ahead of the game, where if you just don't even worry about those likes and how many views, and just keep pushing out all that content as much as you can, and just keep getting that positive outreach stuff out there, the live beyond average style stuff is what I call it, dude, you're gonna go exactly where you want to go. So it's pretty awesome just to hear you talk like this. It's pretty neat.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like you say, the thing, like, I don't know, so you talk about the great content, making viral. This actually happened to us, well, to me, about 2 weeks ago. It was about a month ago, I released our hunting video from the deer hunt, and I worked day in, day out for about a week on it. I mean, I missed school for it. It was like just gonna be perfect, and then we released it. And I mean, like, our hunting heroes is another type of thing that we do, and we've done a couple with like Jordan Harpson and Gritty Brian Call and all these people, and when I dropped their videos, they just like boomed. So I was thinking, this one's a hunting video, I'm gonna get, it's just gonna skyrocket. Like, first hunting video that we've really come out with. I dropped it the day I dropped it. I mean, like, I dropped it, and a camo company that I work with commented on it. Like, a couple people commented on it, but I was expecting it to pretty much blow up. And so for me to only get like 100 views on that, and to only get a couple comments on that, it's like, dang, maybe it's not a good enough content. And I kept questioning myself. I was like, maybe it isn't worth it. And then I have this thing in my room I keep on my wall all the time. It's a board, and it lists my whys. And then a couple other things are on there. And so, like, for me, that night I just sat there. I'm like, crap. Honestly, I was expecting this thing to blow up, and it's not. I was so pissed. So, like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, should I just quit? Should I just quit? And I'm like, no, it's going to work out one day. So I kept reading my motives and my whys, and I really was like, okay, you know what? The biggest thing for me to do is just push harder. If they're not liking this content, or, I mean, it's not, pretty much every person that watched that replied and said, wow, great video, but, it's that I need to get more content out there. And so I kept telling myself, I need to start pushing to do more podcasts, more videos and stuff like that. And so releasing that video where I didn't get much views on actually, in a way, helped me a bunch, because now I'm doing podcasts every day. I got 3 scheduled today, 4 scheduled tomorrow. It's like, now it's just working out amazingly. I mean, we're still getting very low views, but honestly, like, Jordan told me he told me that it's not really mattered on your views. Don't look at life from what other people look at your life like. It's not about your likes, comments on Instagram. It really isn't. It's about why you're doing it. And so like, ever since that was the actual day that I kind of changed my whys for this whole YouTube thing, was when I went up and talked to Brian Call. Because before, honestly, I'll tell you the truth, before my motives were, wow, Hush is popular. I want to become like them. I want to make money off of what I'm doing. And then I went up and talked to him, and Jordan, I went up to the Mountain Ops headquarters and I sat down, and he said, he sat me down, we were about to get ready with our video, and he said, "What's your why?" I was like, oh crap, like what do I tell him?
Right.
And so I was like, if for me to say that I want to be famous is gonna come out weird, you know, and it's gonna come out like, oh, that's my wrong why. And so like, ever since then I told him that, and ever since then he's like DMing me, asking me all these things, helping me a lot. And you know, like, from that day on, my motive from becoming famous, I mean, don't get me wrong, to make a living off of what I love, what I'm doing is, I mean, if I get to that point, it will be great.
Exactly.
I'll love it. But for right now, where we're not, you know, my why for right now until we're done creating YouTube videos is that I just want to pretty much clean up the negativity. That's my real why. I have tons of other ones, but that's like my main why. And so I mean, like, I don't know, finding your why in anything you do, sports, fitness, anything like that is just a crazy thing. I think if we look at sports, so to say, like, if you were to go into sports, because I know a kid, I hang out with him a bunch, and he only plays sports because his mom makes him. He plays football, and he's like, dude, I hate it, but my mom makes me play it. So I'm like, well, I was sitting talking with him, I was like, well, what if you changed your why? Like, what if you changed your attitude on it, and what if you know, focused on what's really going to help you in that sport? And now he's weightlifting. He doesn't play football anymore. He just weightlifts. And so, I mean, like, it's just crazy that if you focus on a why that's making you a better person, or someone else a better person, or making a good change, then it's really going to help your growth as a person and stuff like that. And
100%.
yeah, and I mean, like, you bring it up perfectly. You say that we have to be, crap, how did you put it? Anyways, I can't remember, but anyways, you put it great way that we honestly have to, like, pretty much have our why and have it for the right reason. So that was a great thing that you brought up. If we were to discuss, like, bad things, trials, things like this that are happening in people's lives, things like this, this is gonna get really deep, because like, how do you find, like, when you're going through a trial, how can you find out your real why? I mean, sometimes when you're going through a trial, you know, it actually helps you to find a why, but how can you be positive and keep going and keep pushing?
So, I mean, you talked about it in your own, like, we'll use your video for example. You know, you put a lot of work into this video, a ton of passion, and you were excited, you kicked it out, and it didn't get the response you wanted, right? And then you mentioned how it actually woke you up, and it got you going, your goals, you kind of reverse engineered it a little bit, and you realized what you have to do to get better response. So you started kicking out more content, you started scheduling a ton of podcasts after school, you know, you're not just going dinking around. I mean, you're actually putting in work, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is when we're feeling negative and when we're having these trials, like you said, is that we actually have to really think about what we're doing. We have to think about our whys, like you're nailing it. Why do I want this? Well, if we can actually be self-aware enough to realize, hey, I wanted this, and it's actually for the wrong reasons, so I'm not happy doing it, versus finding that why into, hey, I actually really love this. Now I'm producing, like what you said, I'm producing all these podcasts, I'm kicking out this content. This is exactly what I'm doing as well, in the sense of, okay, I'm not accomplishing quite what I want, I'm not reaching enough people. I want to keep growing my business. I want to keep growing Run to Gun. So what do I have to do that? Okay, well, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. For me, it's sleep, because I still work a full-time job, still have a family. So I'm like, okay, when do I get this stuff done? When do I do podcasts? When do I do my editing? From the show, from our filming hunts all weekend. When am I going to do this? Okay, well, it's when the kids are in bed. It's when it's when my wife's in bed. It's staying up later. It's getting up earlier. And so, when I'm going through those trials, for me, it's I actually really almost enjoy getting punched in the gut now or failing. Whereas beforehand, I was, I want to win all the time. I want to win. Don't get me wrong, still want to win.
Yeah.
We always want to win, but I've had enough no's said to me when I'm out there selling sponsorships for my TV show, or when I'm whatever it is. I've had so many no's, and I've had so many punches in the guts, or people backing out, whatever it is, you know what I mean, the life stuff, that it's all of those things, just like you in your video, that I've just really learned that when all those things happen and I feel like I'm at my worst, when I feel that way, it's actually when I'm performing at my best. And so I'm feeling down about myself, but that's what gets me to work really hard. It's where I start being really creative. It's when I'm coming up with new ideas. It's when I'm staying up later and busting out 2 more videos. It's when I'm scheduling podcasts and jumping on podcasts with guys like you. It's when I feel the worst, or when I get punched in the gut, that I'm performing at my absolute best. And so I've just, over the last year, I turned 30 this summer. I feel so old right now. I'm double your age right now. So, but when I was 15 or 20, even 22, I would have thought 30 was old. I remember my brother-in-law was turning 30, and I was like, dude, that's old. And now I'm 30, and I'm like, dude, I'm so stinking young. I'm just getting started. I've been at my business for 7 years, and kicking out content for 6.5. And, dude, I have videos that still flop every single week. And, nothing like what I want. And that's why I'm just learning to keep that mindset of I'm getting no's and punched in the gut all the time. And I actually really like that mindset. It's that mindset of the underdog, right?
Yeah.
And so when I can keep that mindset, that's my productivity, my energy, everything is so much better. And so what I definitely give somebody for a tangible takeaway from that, when you're feeling that way, somebody's in school feeling that way down about sports, or they just lost a big football game, or they broke up with their girlfriend, or whatever it is in life. There's so many things in life, right, that can really bring us down. That's when we got to do exactly what you said, and ask our whys and find our motives behind those things. And are we doing certain things for the right reason? It's funny that you brought that up, because I haven't thought about that for a while. And I remember my Sunday school teacher way back when, 12 years old, say that to me at one point in a Sunday school class, where he was like, you can pray about stuff, and you can pray for things, and you can do all these other things when it comes to that. But when you're praying and you're asking God for something or whatever it is, what's your motive behind that, and what's your reasoning behind that? Are you actually praying for things for the right reason? And I haven't thought about that in quite a while, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it kind of just reminded me of some of those things that are pretty neat, and they're very valuable, when you can just stop. And it all barrels down to self-awareness,
Yeah, you bring up 2 good points there, and I want to cover both of them, but let's dive into the first one. You brought up that you really have to, when things are going bad, bring up that, when you're losing, you're actually winning. Is how it came out, kind of, because when we're losing, I love a quote, and it's, I only win and learn, I never lose. And because, we're not always gonna win, never. I've put up, I've said, tons of videos lately. I've been working my butt off, and my rate of views has gone down. So it's like, what in the world's going on? And so like, it's just crazy that you brought that up, because like, we really need to look at that and say, well, I can make this better by this and this and this, and I can change this. Oh, my followers aren't liking this, so I can change that. And you know, even though I'm losing right now, so to say, I'm really winning, because in the future I can be working on that. I can make that a better thing. Like in my last video, I had a couple of people say that, you know, like, you didn't get any action of the animals because it was really slow. It was honestly like one of the slowest deer hunts. And so like, it's like, okay, yeah, I can totally do that. I can bring in, you know, like, even if it is another slow hunt, you know, I can work a little bit harder to find those animals, even if it's gonna take me all day. Or, you know, like, I can even put in, you know, some of the animals that I'm not hunting, like moose. This year on the elk hunt, we saw tons of moose. So it's like, I videoed them even when I didn't want to waste SD space and battery time on those things. But it's like, you know, if I want to give my viewers what they want, I gotta do it. And so, you know, I pile that in, and from past experiences, I've learned. And so it's really great. And it's crazy, because in my very first video I've ever, well, no, very first video, I shared 2 video experiences. My very first video, it was a gear review on the Alaska Guide Creations pack. They just took me up with a crazy deal. I was like 12. I DM'd them on Instagram. I was like, yo, what's up, guys? You want to sponsor me? Like, just putting my name out there. And, you know, like, I did a gear review. They hooked me up. And,
that's awesome.
I couldn't, we went through the gear review like 6 times, because I couldn't get it how I wanted it. And so, like, from there to see that, to like these podcasts now, even if we go at a midpoint, like a Brian Call video or a Zach Jones video, like, my nervous side, even just like how I talk to people, it's changed. And then from there, I've learned, I've lost, and so now I'm here, and I'm really learning and building that. And so that's a great point that you bring up. And then another great point is the Sunday school one, that you have to find your why, your motive. Like, we always come back to this why. And so I hope people get through on this podcast that we're here to tell you that you need to find your why. We're not here to tell you that you suck, or anything like that. We're here to tell you that you need to find your why. And so, like, bring up a great point there. Like, it's not just like in a passion that you're driving. It can be in something as little as praying, you say, like not saying that's little, because it's not, but like, it can be in anything in life that we need to find a why to make our attitudes better. I worked for my brother all summer, done it the last like 3 years, and he owns a landscaping company. And the first part of the year, I had a really good why I was going to work. I needed the money. You know, this money's gonna help me produce more films, buy new cameras, and stuff like that. And I mean, like, through the year, it supported me to buy new camera gear, to buy my new bow, to buy new camo, just tons of stuff like that. And so, like, at the start of the summer, I had a great why. The middle of the summer hit. It was 100 degrees outside. I didn't want to work anymore. I lost my why pretty much. And so it wasn't for money like, it wasn't, not saying my why was for money on this, but like, it wasn't that I didn't need anything. Like, you know, I didn't want to go to work in the mornings. I woke up, I'm like, crap, work again. And so, like, that really, you know, like, had an awful bad attitude. And then it really hit me one night. After one day, I told him I was quitting. and then I just want to do YouTube full time. And he's like, well, you're not making any money off of YouTube, so how are you going to do it full time? I was like,
Right.
Of course. And so I was like, you know, like that sunk into me that night. I went home, I really just sat down and I thought through it. I was like, how am I gonna make money so I don't have to go back to that, because I just hated it. And so I was like, you know what, if I change my attitude on work, if I change it back to my attitude that I had before, where I needed the work, I needed it so I can eventually make money off this YouTube to support me, and so that I can do it full time, you know. And so I was like, okay, you know what, I'll go to work tomorrow with that attitude, see how it goes. Well, that day of work went easy. It was like easier than ever. I was like, okay, sweet, try it the next day. Anyways, we go down about 2 months, and then I hit school. And you know, it's easy to get caught up in school life, hanging out with friends every day. You know, it's really easy. And so like, the second I hit school, everything crashed. I stopped producing videos. I really haven't. I put out like 3, and this last week actually I made a new goal to start putting out 2 every week, 3 every week. And so like, but anyways, I got caught up in school. I was like, dude, I just want to hang out with my friends, like leave me alone, I don't want to come to work. And so like, I was like, okay, honestly, like, that's ridiculous. Like I said in my last podcast, you know, I want to drive a passion that, I'm not saying my friendships aren't going to last, like that's going to sound really bad, but like I want to drive a passion that's going to last, that's going to support my family, that's going to, you know, like, this might sound weird coming out of a 15-year-old mouth, but like, you know, I tell all my teachers this. I'm in a business marketing class, and they, like, half of the kids are in there just for the credit, but like, I actually want to be in there to learn and stuff like that, and to like really drive that into my business and help my business out. And most of my teachers are, when I say this, that I own a business, well, own a business, not really, but I sell kickers gear is what it's called, and I make YouTube videos. If I go at it and they ask me, wow, you own a business, like how cool is that? And you're getting ahead of all these kids, and it's like, yeah. And you know, most kids on a Friday night are gonna go party. They're gonna go hang out, they're gonna go to the football game. Don't get me wrong, I do that most of the time. But when it's time for me to go hunting, or to make a film, or to edit a film, or anything to make this passion better, I'm in for that, other than a football game or anything like that. And I brought it up in my last podcast, and the reason why I really actually started hunting, this is, my dad did it and stuff like that, but when I was about 18 months old, I got diagnosed with a heart problem, and they said I could play sports until about 4th grade. And so, you know, I was playing my heart out, you know, living it up. I only had until 4th grade to play sports, so I was like, I'll play everything, you know, like, give everything a chance. So I played baseball, all this, and I went in for a checkup, and, you know, it all crashed. I wasn't able to play sports anymore. And so I came home, and, you know, like, that night, that week, that month, it was like, crap. You know, honestly, all my friends play sports, so, like, how am I going to make friends, like, not playing sports and stuff like that? So it's like, okay, let me find a different passion, a different thing that I love. And at this time, my dad just, my brother just drew elk tag, archery, and so I was like, okay, I'll go try it out, you know. Like, I hated hunting, honestly. Like, you know, like, every time we would go, they'd be like, oh, that bull's on the next ridge, let's go. And then they're like, oh, the next ridge, sorry. And then they're like, the next ridge. I'm like, okay, can we just go back to camp now? We're not gonna kill it, like, come on. And so, like, honestly, I was like, okay, like, I'll give it a try. The hunt was like 100 degrees, and so, like, it was really hard. But anyways, I went and hunted for about 4 days with them. They stayed down there like the whole month, but I went down there for 4 days and I loved it. So ever since then, I really like driven it more. We've like before that, our family wasn't like, we were hunting, but we would go out the opening day, the opening weekend, and then come home. You know, it wasn't like we were actually like dedicated, so to say. Not saying we are full huge hunters now, but like we actually dedicate way more time. Just saying, we came home from a week long. I was on another week-long deer hunt before that, and so like it's become a real thing in my life. And so like for me to really understand that, and another thing, like there's always a plan for us, you know, like we've got to find that plan and drive it. And so like for me, not sure if this is my plan yet, but like for me, like I think this is my plan because I've gone through so much to get to this point, and I just want to keep driving it as we're like, I don't know how to put it. I don't want to overly drive it, overly put content out, because like, you know, like if we put 2 videos out a day, you know, we might start losing followers, subscribers, because they're getting bored of our content, you know. And so a great point that can't remember who I was talking to, but they brought it up and they said, you got to make that every single video, you got to take what you see in that video that's bad and make it better in the next video, and make it better in the next video, and keep adding more intense content, and like just add on to your content. And so that brings us back to really like learning from where we lose. And so, sorry I'm taking up so much time talking about this, but you know, like our whys, honestly, just that's all I want to get across, is that our whys need to be important. They need to help us become a better person, and they need to help others become better people, or just help them in general. Huge inspiration in my life is my Uncle Darren. He's a baseball coach. Well, not anymore. He died. He passed. But he owned a very successful catering business. Did all this, and he was a bishop and things like this. But you know, one of his quotes that he would always say is, "Step up to the plate. Help us all get home." And you know, like lately that's been pounding in my heart as I'm going in for more tests on my heart this week, and to see things like that. And so just to expand on it, find any more problems, anything like that. And so that's been helping me a bunch. It's like, you know, like this is a trial that I'm going through, but you know what, like I don't need to piss people off because of it. I don't need to be mad because of it. It's not my fault. It's not anybody's fault. You know, it's honestly like I said, if this does go bad, if anything goes bad in life, we need to learn from that. We need to grow from that. We need to find our why. You know, we just keep coming back to this. Why? And so, I mean, like, we just need to find our why. That's pretty much what we need to do. I mean, it may sound simple. I may make it sound simple, but like finding my why took me 12 years, 13 years. You know, it doesn't come easy to find that real why. And maybe my why right now isn't the right why. I may think it is, and it may be working at this point, but maybe in some point in the future that may change, and I need to change my why. Whether that be to, you know, truly support a family, you know, things like that, the market crashes, or things simple as that. People stop watching YouTube, something better comes out. You know, I need to change my why, I need to change my passion, and things like that. Those things will happen, but I'm not focused on them right now. I'm focused on my why. And so yeah, sorry I took up so much time on that little subject, but
that's great. I mean, we should have those whys for the right now, and even if we think they're going to be a forever at that moment, because they very well could be. You know, I focused on pretty much nothing but hunting and basketball for a lot of years, from about 11 years old till 20, and all I wanted to do was go play college basketball and then go play professionally overseas or whatever it may be, whatever opportunity there was. And after I played a few years in college, I was so burnt out of basketball, and 'cause I was playing in college, and it was really hard for me because I thought of myself as, I'm Jordan Miller and basketball's who I am, and I really had to transition that from, no, dude, basketball is just something I did. You know, I loved it so much. Well, you know, why was I playing it? You know, and I absolutely loved it. But then, like you just said, sometimes things switch, and you start falling out of love with what you're doing, and it's hard because in your mind you still love it, and you do, but it's just a different type of love. It turns into a different type of passion, and those things will change. You're always gonna have little portions of that changing in your life as you get older, and the biggest thing too is when you're young is you're trying different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to know what you're doing, you know, in 20 years, 15 years, and 5 years right now. And so by trying all these other things is awesome for you. And so jumping around, you know, you might film something else. It might not even be a hunt. You might go film something for a buddy, and it still has to do with filming, but it's not necessarily hunting that you fall in love with. Like, I like producing content for my buddy who's a skateboarder. Like, I love producing content, you know, for this girl that's doing a cooking series. Whatever it is, you know, you're going to find, you might try on these different hats and absolutely love something like that. Change, and it might be painful at first because you put a ton of passion into something, and it's hard to let go. You never truly have to let go of it to that extent. You can still love it. It's just not going to be that main driving force passion, that driving force why, like you talked about. So that's okay. You know, that if things change, it's a good thing, and you're always going to find different things that you love just from experiencing life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, we really bring up that maybe this isn't what I'm meant for. Maybe I do love filming, and maybe filming something else is what I love. But you know, for like right now at this moment, you bring up a great point, because you say for right now, if you love, like, if you're wise that, then drive it. And so, you know, I mean, even though I'm set on this passion, even though I'm driving this passion as hard as I want, you know, I'm still trying different things. You know, sports might be out of the question, but it's like, in all reality, you know, this is what I tell myself all the time. It's like, if I were able to play sports, I wouldn't be at this point right now. I wouldn't.
What you're doing right now, man, doing a great job at it.
Yeah, you know, like, how many people really go to the MLB or the NFL? You know, it's like, okay, like, calm that down. You know, it's going to be all right. And so that's why I love hunting, because this is going to bring up another huge topic, is that everyone can do it.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, we even have wounded warriors out there hunting, and I think that's a great way to, you know, help them back into normal life and things like that. And so, I mean, we do have...
You're right. The longevity of hunting compared to sport. You know, our bodies, we can do it. We can do it for a long time. You know, I hope I'm still hunting when I'm 90. You know, I sure as heck plan on it. And so it's like, I can't, you know, get up and down the court when I'm 90, most likely, you know, in a pickup basketball game. And so, you know, sports are such a minute, they're fun, they're awesome, they help us stay fit, but it's such a minute thing, you know, compared to what I think, like what you're doing right now. Yeah.
I mean, how much we learn from hunting, how much, like, me personally as a 15-year-old, I wouldn't, honestly, to tell you the truth, if my family didn't hunt, we probably wouldn't camp. I probably wouldn't know the basics of starting a fire. I wouldn't know how to load a gun and protect myself. You know, things were to get crappy. Simple things like that that honestly I think every kid should know. And you know, we get caught up in things like social media, Instagram, Snapchat, daily life, the internet, and I'm one of these kids also because I swear I'm always on my phone, which I am, but it's like, you know, like, we as people are, well, us as kids, okay, my generation is always focused, it seems like, at school. You know, they tell you the truth, most kids don't even care about school. They'd rather text someone, they would rather be on their phone. And so, I mean, to escape from electronics, to escape from the world, is just amazing. And that's honestly what hunting is. I left for a week, like I said, 2 weeks actually, and to be gone from my phone for that week was like, oh my gosh, I might as well just throw it down the drain because I don't need it.
Right.
It's like honestly, like, texting so and so is causing more drama than it is fun, you know? It's like, it's just all these things. And so hunting, honestly, if I were to describe hunting in one word, it would probably therapeutic, I think, is the word. Especially bow hunting. I mean, with a rifle, you can go and shoot it, you can practice, sight it in and all this, but archery hunting has been something that's bled in my heart, that's been, like, the real reason I hunt. And it's because, honestly, like, if I'm dealing with anything bad, or if I'm pissed off at someone, or anything like that, I just go shoot my bow. And it calms me way down, gets me back into that mindset, you know, it really lets me think about things. And so, for me, hunting is therapeutic, or like, it just helps me a bunch. And so, maybe for other people, they're not going to understand that until they try it. And so, you know, that's our main goal with this whole YouTube, is to actually bring in people, to try to get more people involved into hunting. If you were to bring in, like, if I were to ask you in one word to describe hunting to you, what would that be?
I was actually thinking about that while you were talking, so I'm like, he's going to ask this because he's good. So, I was like, you know, for me, I definitely think it's empowering. Because when I'm out there and I'm hunting and I'm by myself most of the time now, I have my brother always with me because he produces all of our TV stuff and all of our content. You know, when it's just us there, dude, I'm super empowered. When I hike in somewhere where nobody else is, I'm up earlier than everybody else is. I'm out there packing a, you know, I don't know if you've heard any of the couple Pack Out Thoughts volumes that we put out. We have a couple of them out. You know, I love a heavy pack hiking out and it's absolutely miserable, because I just love to think that, hey, there's probably not very many other people out there going through exactly what I'm doing right now. And so it makes me feel very special in that sense, which is empowering. And when I'm empowered and I feel that way, it just goes right back to that. I feel very creative. I usually come up with ideas, whether it be business ideas, content ideas, things for Run to Gun for my business. That's definitely when I'm the most creative and when I'm the most empowered, and I tell myself that I can do it. You know, and it just builds that confidence, and that confidence that happens out in the field, that happens during a pack out, that happens during a hunt, when you're shooting your bow or your rifle. Those things just correlate so much over into other areas of our life. When we build that confidence, you know, I talk a lot about how when it correlates over to other life, it can be that you're performing better at your job, that you're being a better boyfriend, a husband, a father, whatever those things in life are. That most likely they go hand in hand, they correlate with each other, and they're building up one another, and they're strengthening one another. And so that is why I just feel like being out in the outdoors is so important, that hunting is so important, and that how it is empowering for me.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because, yeah. Anyways, any last thoughts before we close this?
Yeah.
any last questions for me or anything like that?
So, yeah, we talked for a few minutes here before the podcast started, kind of got to know each other. Just for my listeners here later, because I'm going to kick this out as well, because I want my listeners to hear you. So I have two questions for you. One is, where can my listeners find your podcast and your content?
I haven't set up anything like iTunes podcast or anything like that. So the easiest way is to head on over to YouTube, check out my YouTube, Kickers Productions.
Okay.
You can find my content there and also my podcast. This podcast will be there. So
Sweet.
That's where you can find it.
Awesome. Okay, I'll link that on our stuff too. And then I just want you to tell my listeners really what you told me at the beginning. You gave me you said, hey, I tell this to everybody. I want you to tell my listeners what you told me.
Okay, so pretty much this might be a little bit more broad, but anyways, so why I don't know why I say we, but why I started this is because like there's a bunch of negativity in the world on social media, on just anything in life. There's tons of negativity, and don't get me wrong, it's easy to be negative, but for me, I want to clear up the social media platform is really what I said. And you know, the first step that we're taking in this is called Project Both Sides. And pretty much what Project Both Sides is where me as a hunter, we're throwing together films and describing why I hunt. We're taking animals' lives, and that's hard for us as hunters to do that. I mean, it's not an easy task. And some people be like, well, yeah, hunting is hard because you're killing something, but you know what, like, that's a whole nother podcast topic that we can get on. But you know, like, for me as a hunter, I've always wanted to get to understand the anti-hunter side. The people that hate hunting, or even just the people that don't hunt, you know, I mean, like, I just want to get to know that. And so for me, I strive day in, day out to try to find new content to, you know, bring in why I hunt to them, you know, because I feel like they are reaching for that same thing. Like, why do they hunt? Why do they kill an animal? And so for me, I just wanted to clean up the social media platform. I posted a picture of a dead bear. I went on a hunt with my brother, and he killed a bear and posted it, and Instagram took it down because people were commenting negative things. But you know what, like, everyone has to live their life. Don't get me wrong, you can live your life, you can believe what you want to believe. I can believe what I want to believe, but for me, like, I've always wanted to get the anti-hunter side. And so I know there's people out there striving to get to know the hunter side. And so for me, I want to create content. I want to do this to show them. I know many people are doing that right now, and you know, like, I want to be the person that's creating the content that they want to see, you know, just things like that. And so that's pretty much what I said earlier, I think. I mean, like, that's what I kind of tell everyone before, so.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Dude, I'm super stoked that you reached out to me on Instagram and asked me to be on your podcast, because it was pretty awesome, pretty humbling. I appreciate you know, that you ran into my content and checked it out, and that it maybe helped you in some little way, so.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Honestly, like, I like, it's crazy that when I listen to podcasts, I listen to tons of podcasts, tons of books, ebooks, you know, try to get new ideas and stuff like this. And I listened to your podcast. I listened to the one, maybe it wasn't a podcast, it was one of your posts on Instagram where you were running and, well, you just got done running or working out or something like that, and you were describing, you know, like, things like, I can't remember, but like, you really broke it down, and that was actually the first thing that caught my eye. before like I followed you, but it's like, you know what, it's just another, I mean, like, there's so many little businesses, and I was like, oh, it's just another business, you know, like little hunting business. But I followed you, and then you posted that. Actually, you posted the high school kid one, or whatever that one was. That caught my eye, and then I was like, dang, this guy's like actually freaking preaching out here about, you know, things that we need to know. And so then,
I think it's not the weaknesses video, right? Up on the basketball court, maybe?
yes, that was it. And
Yep.
so that hit me way strong. And so, like, and I was like, I need to get a hold of this man. I need to get him on my podcast, let my followers listen to him. And so that's a great way. Just a follow-up question, where can my followers and subscribers find you?
Sure. So on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's all just Run2Gun, RUN, number 2, GUN. It's just Run2Gun on all that. Or you can go on to like almost any podcast app like iTunes, Anchor, Google Podcasts, anything like that, and just type in Live Beyond Average. That's kind of our mantra. That's our tagline right there. So our podcast is just called the Live Beyond Average podcast, or you can just type in Run2Gun. It'll probably pop up as well there. So I'd love it if you guys jumped on and leave a comment that says that you heard me on the Kickers podcast.
Yeah, I'll drop it in the descriptions below. But thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot.